Hola, ¿qué es gente? Bienvenidos a un nuevo episodio de Stanley Parable. En este caso, Stanley Parable 2 estamos. Y bueno, vamos a empezar. Vamos a ver, espérate. 10:36. Vamos a empezar con los finales o las cosas que tenemos que hacer. Vamos a agarrar el baldecito, ¿ok?
A common complaint of the Stanley Parable was that it was confusing and
narrador.
paradoxical, that it engendered a chaotic sense of reckless despair in those who played it. Well, I'm happy to say that after much consideration, I've engineered a clever solution to this fundamental problem with the game. It's the Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket. You see, Stanley, anytime you're holding the bucket, a sense of calm and ease will fill your mind and your heart. It's true. As long as you hold on to the bucket, the many disorienting contradictions of the Stanley Parable will feel perfectly normal and perhaps even comforting. You may even come to long for the gentle embrace of jarring cognitive dissonance while the bucket is in your arms. And to be honest, it's a much more convenient solution for me than actually redesigning the game to be less uncomfortable. Can you imagine what a pain in the ass that would be? Yes, the bucket is the perfect solution. Come on, give it a try.
Ok. A la mierda.
Can you feel it? The glow of comfort, even in the face of crushing despair, must already be sweeping through your body. And in fact, can I say that I do believe the bucket lends you an air of charisma as well? I think that just holding it has made you the slightest bit more attractive as a person.
Ok.
The benefits of the bucket seem to go on, don't they? All this and more await you in the Stanley Parable 2.
Ok. Y con esto se supone que ya hemos visto todo lo de Stanley Parable 2, ¿ok? Así que supongo que ahora ya podemos ir a la salida.
Does anyone give out awards for most enjoyable bucket in a video game? That really should be an award if it isn't already.
Vale. Vamos a la salida. Exit. Vámonos. Y bueno, gente, con este balde, ok, vamos a poder desbloquear muchos finales más. Creo que ahora tenemos que volver a la oficina y hacer todos los finales, pero ahora con el balde.
All right. Have you seen everything you wanted to?
Yeah.
Ready to move on now?
Tipi. A ver, que esta parte no la vimos, ¿eh? ¿Qué piola ese póster de Stanley? No screenshots. Total, no puedo sacar screenshots.
So, Stanley,
Oh,
what do you
fuck.
think? Do you like all of the new features? Yes, I know it's not exactly clear yet how exactly these features will come together as one single coherent video game, but I can feel it in my soul. It's going to work. There's definitely a good game in there somewhere. Say, let's do an experiment. I'll arrange these new features together, and we'll see whether or not it coheres into a meaningful gameplay experience.
Ok.
Okay. Are you ready? Here it is. I give you the Stanley Parable 2.
Oh, shit. Ok.
I mean, there's potential here, right? It's sort of...
Botón de
Okay,
Steam.
never mind.
Está coleccionable.
Hold on. Let me do a different arrangement. Okay, yes, this is much better. I feel good about this. Here we go. Version 2.
Bo, hermano, pero ese título de cualquier lado. Le
Who am I
pido,
kidding,
mira ahí.
Stanley? This isn't a coherent video game at all. It's a lot of gags.
El
And
balde
I
ahí
do
por
very
la
much
cara.
enjoy creating gags, but they don't
Salto
add up to
restante en la
anything.
máquina esa.
I wanted more than anything to create a sequel that would capture all the magic of the first game. I
Yeah.
wanted fans to love it. No matter how good these gags are, they won't stand on their own. They would need the structure and the gameplay of the original.
Exactamente.
Wait, maybe that's it. I can take the original Stanley Parable and simply, well, insert a few of my new features into it. Tastefully, of course. With respect. With care for the vision and integrity of the original game.
Mira, ahí
Would
estoy.
it possibly work? I suppose it could. But it would need a really, really tremendous title screen. A title screen that says with bold and uncompromising conviction, "This is the Stanley Parable 2." Let me see if I can whip something up. All right, perfect. Go ahead. Take a look.
Me reinició el hijo de su madre. Holy shit, hermano. A ver, se supone que hizo como... ¡Wow! Stanley Parable 2, estamos jugando. Oye, acá está lo de la buscosidad. Voy a poner 1000. Aplicar. ¡Wow! Iniciamos partida a ver qué pasa. Claro, ahora estaremos jugando al normal, pero con las configuraciones nuevas. Bueno, entonces entonces podemos empezar las nuevas cosas, ¿no? Vamos a poder empezar. A ver, voy a dejar
This is
esto.
the story of a man named Stanley.
A ver.
Stanley worked for a company in a big
Con la
building where he
decoraciones.
was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy.
Okay.
And then one day, something very peculiar happened.
De Stanley
Something that
Parable
would forever
2.
change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office. All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room.
Okay.
Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Vale, ok, entonces ahora vamos a hacer todos los finales, pero ¿cómo es esto? Pero con el balde, ¿ok, gente? Así que vamos a ir a buscar el balde, que debería... ¡Ah, mira! ¡El balde!
Stanley picked up the bucket.
¡Sí! Y podríamos empezar... ¿Con qué finales? Vamos a empezar con el final del bug. De esto de acá arriba.
Stanley clung the bucket to his cheek.
¡Sí!
Could his co-workers really all be gone?
No sé, pero... Aquí como que... Y... ¡Opa! ¿Y acá?
Yes, whispered the bucket into Stanley's ear.
We've done it. We've escaped from that dull office and that pesky narrator. At last,
Sir.
out here in the white void, we are alone. Now, and for the first time, I can reveal to you my true self.
The bucket began to tell Stanley of its life and its history, of the countless wars it witnessed, desecrating the land and lives of untold numbers of innocent humans, and the bucket's own complicity therein, of sadness and regret, and the many years it spent dwelling on the actions it might have taken to curb the madness and the decay, if only it had been stronger, of hope and redemption, and its crusade to uplift the stock of life for the common man, to manifest justice where none existed, and the bittersweet reality of time, to see one's dreams and wishes met halfway, meted out in parcels like charity, and abandoned as soon as the warm glow of inspiration begins to dim. The opportunities to do so much more. There was so much it could have done, perhaps, the bucket wondered to itself. Perhaps, if it had seen its own darkness with a clearer perception.
Carajo.
This was way too much for Stanley.
What are you talking about?
He screamed.
You're a bucket.
To this, the bucket furrowed its brow.
Pero qué serio,
No.
hermano.
Said the bucket.
Not since the evil wizard Gambhorata first ensnared me in his machinations as payback for the
¿Qué?
sacred amulet I stole from his treasured vaults. I was young back then and could not conceive the ramifications of... No!
Stanley screamed even louder this time.
This is stupid! You are a bucket! This is so stupid! Why are we even doing this?
As Stanley screamed and screamed and screamed, the bucket revealed its true form, transforming into a mighty beast of untold power.
¿Qué
Its
carajo?
fangs glistening like...
¿Qué ha pasado?
My God, Stanley, you did it. You saved us from the bucket. Thank
What?
God you already had all 12 emblems of sages and knew the incantations to summon their true power. Otherwise, we would have easily been overwhelmed by the bucket's power. I'm speechless. You've demonstrated such bravery here
Carajo,
today.
amigo.
Come, let's restart the game, and we'll agree to never
¿Qué?
again go trifling with this bucket, nor the dark magic cast away inside of it.
Bro. Pero vamos a ver. Vale, reiniciamos el juego y vamos a hacer siguiente final. Tiki tiki tiki. Vamos a hacer el final normal con el
All of his
balde,
co-workers were gone.
pero
What could it
el
mean?
último. Va a ser el
Stanley decided to
último.
go to the meeting room. Perhaps Stanley lifted the bucket into his arms, and a wave of comfort rushed over him.
Ok. Mira. No está más ahí la puerta.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his
Vale.
chest and entered the
Como
door on
dije,
his
vamos a
left.
hacer el final bueno en el último. Así que vamos para acá.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the
Hasta el
employee
diálogo
lounge
cambia,
was
hermano.
simply the place to be.
Wow, no había visto esa habitación, creo.
And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this better than the meeting room? Yes, Stanley thought to himself. Yes, perhaps it truly was. How insightful the bucket turned out to be.
Ok.
No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No, vamos a hacer esto primero.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the cargo lift.
Vale, ok. Wow, ¿y esto? Esto no estaba antes. ¿Qué carajo? Uy, va. ¡Oh! ¡Ahí hay un coleccionable! Pero acá hay varios finales. ¿Acá no había una reja que se cerraba? Vale, vamos a hacer el final de tirarme.
But Stanley feared that
shit.
any path he walked might lead to the separation of himself and the bucket, his dearest friend. So he threw himself to his death, that they might die in one another's arms.
Pero por favor.
How deeply touching.
Los diálogos son mucho más cortos, ¿eh? Lo cual agradezco, porque a veces es como que... Dios. Bueno, ahí hay varios finales. Creo que había leído un final, así hago el mismo. Vamos a hacer dos finales antes de... En realidad hay tres ahí, ¿no? Claro, ahí hay tres, ¿no? Hay tres finales.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. The confusion and the chaos all seemed to melt away as Stanley embraced the bucket.
Oh, pero la sala del...
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his... This was not the correct way
Deluxe
to the meeting room.
se fue, ¿eh?
But Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be.
And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? No, never mind.
Vamos a votar todas las posibilidades aquí.
Stanley took
Acá
the
hay
door on his
otro
left
final
to
que
go
es
back to the meeting
subirme
room.
al elevador pero salirme al segundo.
No, said the bucket.
Don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere
Creo que
else.
es así.
The cargo lift,
Y
yes.
así.
Oh, well, look who's got cold feet. Well, from here, it looks like the only way forward is down, since the lift won't be coming back, but that's okay. You've got a bucket.
Creo que
Did you know
esto no
that
se
buckets
podía
are
hacer.
routinely used as cushioning
Esto lo estuve
devices?
investigando un
It's
poco.
true. You can fall on a bucket from literally any height and survive.
Vale, entonces caigo arriba del balde.
Whoops. Looks like I was wrong. How clumsy of me.
Pero es lo mismo. Pero hermano, qué mierda. Qué mierda de finales. Vamos a buscar finales mejores. Por ahora el mejor es del balde apuñalado, hermano. Tipo. Ok, vamos ahora a ir a por el coleccionable. Ok. Espero que no sea tirarme otra vez, ¿no?
All of his co-workers were gone.
Son 6
What could
coleccionables,
it
llevamos
mean?
uno.
Stanley
Cuando
decided to
veamos
go to
todos
the
los
meeting
coleccionables
room.
vamos a poder tener el logro.
Warmth spread through Stanley's
Pero como
arms.
si la
With the
máquina
bucket in his
está
arms
cerrada,
again, he
supongo
was
que se abrirá,
home.
¿no?
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his... This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No,
Said
Y
the bucket.
acá
don't go to the meeting room.
encima ahí
Go
después
somewhere
tenemos-
else. The
tenemos
cargo lift, yes.
como-
Go there. Go to the cargo lift.
Buah, acá tenemos un montón de finales, hermano. Porque el que es llegar hasta allá tenemos el contestar el teléfono y el de cortar el cable. Y acá tenemos otro. Así que tenemos 3 finales y acá uno. Y acá supongo que espero que no sea un cuarto. ¿What? ¿Esto estaba? Bueno, a ver. Esto estoy seguro que no estaba, estas maderas. No me quiero caer. Vale. Yo
You
agarro.
found one of them. One of the miniature Stanley figurines. Remember,
Hey.
no reward for collecting all of these, only the intrinsic pleasure of a
Esto es
job
mentira,
well
es
done.
mentira,
You can't
me
buy
van a
that
dar
sort of
algo.
happiness, Stanley. God knows
Dame
I
el
tried.
logro.
So, I implore you to savor each and every moment you come across one of these beautiful figurines.
Ok. Sí, 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 que se siente muy bien. La verdad que me mejora el juego, te digo. Lo de los coleccionables. Bueno, vamos a ver qué hay acá. Ay, me caí. A ver. Otro final. What? What? What the hell? Cintas. Diálogo. Diálogos del narrador. What? Está llenísimo. Oh, ¿acá es donde está el narrador? Uy, va, a ver. Uy. No me puedo mover.
Okay, this is day number 295.
What?
Tape number... I don't even know. I've lost track. Nothing feels real anymore. The longer I study this bucket, the less sense anything
Pero
makes.
hermano, ¿qué pasa con el balde, viejo?
Sheer euphoria I feel every time
¿Esta es la voz de
I pick
Stanley?
it up. No matter how many times I've done it, it's always the same feeling. And the emptiness in my chest when I set it down,
A la mierda.
it doesn't make sense. There's no explanation for it. I still haven't figured out why I see the world
the fuck,
so
amigo?
differently when this bucket is in my arms. Why everything feels so... What do I do with this treasure?
A la mierda.
I can monetize it. Yes.
A la mierda.
It's unthinkable the amounts of money people will pay for even just an hour with the bucket. This is my golden ticket. But I have to be careful, because as soon as this gets out, there's going to be a target on my back. Even now, I don't know who might be trying to get... What's that? Who's there?
Amigo.
Camporata.
What the fuck? La magia, el mago de Gamborrata. Es lo que estaba diciendo en el final de la ventana. Lo de la magia de Gamborrata, boludo. What the fuck? ¿Y qué? ¿Lo habrá agarrado el mago ese y no sé qué? Y le habrá hecho cosas malas. ¿Y está fumada, hermano? No sé si es Stanley o quién es la persona. Vamos por otro
I can't
final.
wait to tell this story to my co-workers, Stanley thought. How amusing they'll find it. Oh, won't we? Stanley picked up the bucket and smiled. He'd never be alone again, not truly alone, not with the bucket around. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door. This was not the correct way to the meeting room,
Vale.
but Stanley had
Nos
felt the
quedan
bucket
3
calling
finales
to him,
en esa
telling him
puerta.
that
Así que la
the
agotamos bien
employee lounge
entero
was
todo.
simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? No, never mind.
Bueno, ahora
Bucket
vamos a
was
hacer el
wrong.
final de
Stanley
ir...
took the door on his left
por
to
otro
go
lado.
back to the meeting room.
Póngate,
No.
ponga.
Said the bucket.
Don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift. Good.
Said the bucket.
Now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact. He was
Yes,
firmly
that-
convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he
Después lo hablamos.
unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
No. No lo obedecí. Me fui a la mierda. A ver. Vamos a ver el final este. What the fuck?
No, stop. Look there on the wall. You see, there's a sign right there. It says, "No buckets past this point." Stanley, how could you think it was
Oh.
okay to bring the bucket here? Unless...
No
what
lo
if the
sé.
problem is that you actually don't know what is a bucket and what isn't a bucket? I suppose that would explain a lot about your behavior up to this point. Which, if that's true, well, my goodness, I think we have to do something about it.
Que me
This
paga.
misunderstanding could have dire consequences on the entire rest of the game if not
Bue.
addressed quickly and properly. So much of the impact of the story is dependent on your understanding.
Tengo que
of
saber
what
qué
is
es un-
and
qué es un
isn't
balde.
A bucket. Please, step in here for a moment.
¿Esto es nuevo? Oh, fuck, no veo nada. Ah, ok. Ok. Otro final. ¿Es esto un balde? Dios mío.
Now then, I'm going to run you through some test scenarios, and you'll
Okay.
tell me whether or not the thing I'm showing you is a bucket.
Vale, ¿es un
Simple
balde o no?
enough, right? This should tell us everything we'll ever need to know about what is or
Okay,
is
voy a contestar,
not a bucket. Okay, let's
sincero,
begin.
¿ok?
Item
Sí.
1. Is this a bucket?
Sí.
Incorrect. It is a hologram
¿Qué?
of a bucket.
Ah,
not an
venga, vete a la
actual bucket.
mierda. ¿Y yo cómo voy a saber que es un holograma?
Item 2. Is this a bucket?
Venga, hermano, y ahora me hace dudar. Supongo que sí.
Incorrect. It is a 3D printed recreation
Venga,
of a bucket,
hermano.
not an actual bucket.
Y cuando ponga no, va a decirme error,
Item
si es un
3.
balde.
Is this a bucket?
Voy a poner de vuelta así.
Correct. This is a bucket.
Chúpala.
Item 4. Is this a bucket?
Vamos a ver, vamos a ver. No hay forma posible que esto sea un balde. No me rompa los huevos.
Correct. This is a tractor and not a bucket.
No seas
To be honest,
pelotudo.
I just sort of put this one in here as a gimme, but I was starting to get
Gracias.
concerned that even this might be too much for you. Thank you for not making me look like an idiot. Okay, next one.
¡Ja! Vale, a ver.
Is this a bucket?
Este tipo es tonto. Este chabón es tonto y merece piña.
Incorrect. This is a bucket.
Por la cara. O sea, no me vas a explicar ni por qué es un balde.
Item 6. Is this a bucket?
Sí.
Trick question. Both. Gotcha.
¿Qué? ¿Y cómo respondí a las dos?
Item... Wait, hold on. I can't find the next one. Let me see. It should be around here somewhere.
Pues muéstralo, ¿no?
Okay, you and I both know there isn't anything here. And I don't appreciate the implication that nothing is a bucket when we both clearly know that a bucket is something. And therefore nothing could possibly be something. Unless, in your twisted mind, have you somehow convinced yourself that a bucket is nothing? Answer me straight, Stanley. Do you believe that nothing is a bucket?
No, no, no.
You know what? I'm too confused to even sort it out.
Ja, ja.
I've lost all sense of perspective. What is a bucket? What isn't a bucket? Mere moments ago I could answer these questions with confidence.
No
But
rompa
now
los
I'm
huevos,
somewhat
hermano. Me
adrift.
pone una impresión
Do
3D,
any
un
of us know
holograma.
what
Vete a la
bucket
mierda.
is? Am I a bucket? Stanley, I can't keep doing this.
No,
I'm
no sos
losing
un
myself,
balde,
and
hermano.
myself was all I ever
Para ser
had to
sincero.
begin with. I'm afraid the bucket is threatening to tear our relationship apart. I
¿Qué
can't
dice?
have that. I'm sorry. But I'm going to erase all buckets from the game entirely. Okay, here we go.
Uy, va.
What happened? Is everything gone? Why did everything disappear? Wait, was everything a bucket? Every single thing
No
in the
joda,
game was a
hermano.
bucket? Oh my God, I had no idea. How could... Except me. I'm not a bucket after all. And you, Stanley, you're still here. You're not a bucket either.
Yeah.
Oh, this is wonderful news. We're not buckets. Yes,
No.
I actually feel much more at ease right now. It's delightful to get some clarity on that issue, but it doesn't change the fact that we haven't got a game. So, tell you what, I'll reset everything and we'll put back all of the buckets, okay? And we'll know that it's all a bucket. But if you run into anyone else, maybe don't mention that. Who knows what that information might do to a person? All right, here we go.
Puta madre. Bueno, tenemos otro final. Sabemos ahora que todo el juego es un balde. Está buena la data. Bueno, vamos a ir a por los dos finales. El final de el teléfono y el final de una persona real. Como que me queda como media hora por ahí. Así que no creo que haga todos.
My God, the bumpscosity in here is absolutely overwhelming. 1,000? You people have got to be nuts. How can you stand this much bumpscosity?
Creo que era bumcosidad, hermano. Pero vamos a ver. A la mierda, piola esto. Pole bajo, anormal. Ahí está. Figurita Fighter Comite. Ojo.
The good old bucket. Just Stanley and the bucket. Off on another thrilling adventure together. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his... This was not the correct way to the meeting room. But Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him,
Ahora vamos
telling
a
him that the
llegar hasta el
employee
fondo
lounge was simply
de...
the place to be.
del-
And here it was. Had
del
the bucket
ascensor.
turned out to be correct? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong.
Esto sigue siendo igual.
Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
Ok.
No,
said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting
Ahora
room.
vamos a escucharlo
Go
entero.
somewhere else. The cargo lift. Good,
Said the bucket.
now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Ok.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact. He was firmly convinced that the
No,
bucket
globito
had
allá.
spoken to him,
Globito.
and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
Ok.
In here.
Said the bucket.
Go into this dark room over here.
Stanley once again obeyed blindly.
A esta habitación. Ok.
Now pick up the phone.
Said the bucket.
Pick up the phone and it will take us back home, where we can go about life together.
Ok. Atendemos el teléfono. ¡Oh, fuck! ¡Un flash! Ahora tenemos que hacer de vuelta el otro. Final. Wow, wow, wow. Demasiado blanco, ¿no? Bueno, así por lo menos puedes ver si está
This
sucia la
is the
pantalla.
sad story of a man named Stanley and his
What?
bucket. Once upon a time, I gave Stanley a bucket because I thought he was lonely and could use a friend. And then, very distressingly, he began to believe the
diferente,
bucket could speak to him.
Uy, va, me cambió la casa y todo. No me lo puedo creer. Ni el balde ahí. Pero bueno. Hola Stanley, soy yo, tu balde. Oprime este para llevarme al trabajo contigo.
The Stanley Parable reassurance bucket was merely meant to provide the comforting glow of companionship. It doesn't literally talk and give you orders. Whatever Stanley is hearing the bucket say to him is
Voy a
just
cambiar
in
el
his
filtro
head.
perfecto. Vale. Ok. Para llevarme de vuelta a casa contigo.
Lately, I've been concerned about him. Wouldn't you be concerned as well? To see him delusional like this, obsessing over an inanimate metal object? I want to say something to him, but I don't know how I can convince him. I don't know if he'll listen to me.
Está controlado por el balde, vos. Vamos al trabajo.
Oh, I'll try anyway. Stanley, can you hear me? Listen to me. It's just a bucket. It can't think, it can't talk. All it will ever truly do for you is effectively transfer a liquid from one location to a different location. That's it. It doesn't do anything else.
No le hagas caso al tipo que grita, oprime esto para volver a casa. Y bueno, sí.
You see, he's not listening.
También
He's
te digo,
still
¿no? Porque no
taking
puedo hacer
orders
más
from the
nada.
bucket. You know, once upon a time it was me he took orders from, me he trusted and listened to. Now all he cares about is his awful bucket, this stupid hunk of metal.
Uy, va, se está poniendo celoso, ¿no? El hombre. Para ignorar a todo el mundo excepto a mí.
It's sad, but I suppose he doesn't need me anymore. From now on, he's just going to cling to this bucket, this cold, empty bucket, this sort of shiny bucket. Well, I'll give it this. The bucket does have a nice shine to it.
¿Tú crees que existo, no, Stanley?
Yes, I suppose on closer inspection that it doesn't quite look like your average hardware store bucket. It's just a little more, what am I trying to say? Sturdier, more capable of transporting liquid. Like it would be better at moving an amount of water from one room to another.
Ok. Ya es música con el balde, boludo. El problema es que para revivir una y otra vez el mismo día contigo.
Oh my God, what am I saying? Better at carrying water from room to room. It's a bucket. It's literally just a bucket. Why do I feel some need to point out the ways in which it's so much more than just a regular bucket?
Poneme triángulo para ir al trabajo, a casa, al trabajo, a casa.
Oh no, I'm having feelings. for the bucket.
Venga, hermano, qué carajo.
No, what's going on? Why do I want to be with the bucket? Hear what the bucket has to say. Do anything it asks. What's wrong with me? I don't understand. Perhaps if I had the bucket, this would be less confusing.
Hermano,
Yes,
tú estás haciendo un
the
poco el
bucket
carajo.
could tell me what to do in this troublesome situation.
The fuck. No me digas tener sexo con el balde, por favor.
Stanley, give me the bucket. Give it to me. Give me the bucket, Stanley. I need it. Give it to me now. Give it or I'll...
What? Vuelve al trabajo, Stanley. What the fuck, este final. Bueno, ahora vamos a hacer el final de la persona real y así ya esa puerta la bloqueamos totalmente. Y no volvemos a entrar en la puta vida, ¿ok? Y vamos a hacer los siguientes.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Where are we going today? The bucket asked. Stanley just smiled. Anywhere they went together would be perfectly fine. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his... This was not the correct way to the meeting room. But Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Well, no, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No,
Hay un
Said the
montón de
bucket.
finales,
don't go to the meeting
Ahora que lo
room.
estoy
Go
pensando.
somewhere else. The cargo lift. Good.
Said
Creo
the
que tengo que
bucket.
ir. Tengo,
Now ride the lift
tengo que
all
ir
the way
acá.
to the top.
pero
There's
sin el
something up
balde
there
para
I need you to
buscar un
do.
coleccionable, creo.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket
Los
was speaking
coleccionables
to
más o
him.
menos me lo sé.
It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact. He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he
Sí.
unthinkingly did whatever the bucket
Bueno, ahora
asked.
no hay que obedecer al balde y no contestar el teléfono. Simplemente es eso.
In here.
Said the bucket.
Go into this dark room over here.
Stanley once again obeyed blindly.
No. No voy a hacerle caso al otro.
Now pick up the phone.
Said the bucket.
Pick up the phone, and it will take us back home, where we can go about life together.
No.
Whoa, hold on. Why did you unplug the phone? Were you trying to resist the bucket's orders?
Sí.
Stanley, I was joking. Obviously, the bucket isn't talking to you and telling you to do things. Buckets can't talk. It was a joke.
Don't you get the joke? It's funny, Stanley. A talking bucket.
Can't you see? Oh, goodness. I must have really bungled up the delivery if you actually took me seriously. Where did I mess up the joke? Should I have paused for longer or spoken quicker? Comedic timing
También te
is so
digo, si me
difficult.
preguntabas cómo
I wish I
estaba.
were better
El
at
timing de la
it, but
comedia
there
es muy
isn't
difícil.
exactly an instructional video on comedy that one can watch to fully... Oh, wait, yes, there is. It's sitting right
¿En serio?
here.
¿Me vas a
Let's
mostrar
take
un
a
video
look.
de la comedia? Ah, pero no.
What is comedic timing?
Sa-
What is comedic timing? How does it work? How long should it last? How can it be used to effectively silence your political enemies?
¿Qué?
And more importantly, can it be taught in its entirety within 90 seconds?
Sa-
Thankfully, the answer to all of these questions is yes.
Oh, qué
Let's
ocupado.
dive deeper.
Otro video que...
If you've ever told a joke or made someone laugh, in all likelihood, you did it while standing 50 to 80 centimeters from them in a room of no more than 76 degrees
What?
Fahrenheit, with one of your arms raised straight upward at a 15-degree angle from your body. These are the optimal conditions for good comedic timing. To begin the joke, start by stating and spelling your name. Next, provide a brief synopsis of the joke, including the specific times at which the recipient of the joke will laugh, and then spell out your name a second time.
¿Qué?
With these steps complete, it's time to begin the humor. Speak the entire joke in no more than 18 seconds and no less than 13 and a half, pausing only for bathroom breaks when necessary. When the joke has concluded, it is customary to inform your listener that the joke is over by declaring in your loudest possible voice, "I'm Dunny with the funny." Let's practice screaming, I'm Denny with the funny
Ya
now.
terminé el chistecito. Pero qué carajo, hermano. Ahora tendría que hacer el chiste de mujeres. No, mentira. Algún chiste, no sé qué, debería decir. Ya terminé el
Good.
chistecito.
This saying is a perfect example of expectations management, which is the cornerstone of good comedy. Finally, it's time to hand out surveys.
¿Qué?
Collecting hard data from your audience on how rapt they were throughout the joke is the only way to grow or learn as a comedian. An effective survey should be no less than 10 pages long and should include the same question reprinted several times, just to ensure the survey taker is actually paying attention and not simply filling in answers at random. And that's all there is. With these strategies at your disposal, you'll have audiences doubled over in laughter and even tripled over in laughter in no time at all. Just remember to let them stop laughing at some point, you gut-busting little scamp. After all, we're each of us needed on the front lines of the war to fight the 12-legged invader who threaten our very existence and to very likely die in a hailstorm of bullets and mandibles. All of us must be prepared to give our lives to this noble cause, just as our children must do after us, and their children after them. Godspeed, and may Earth reign supreme.
Hermano, esto está yendo de madre. Porque siempre
Hey, goodness, this video is a little outdated, isn't it? Well,
¿Te
no
parece?
matter. I think the fundamentals of proper comedic timing are still as relevant today as they were back then. So with that in mind, I believe the only way forward is for us to return to the two doors and walk through all of this again, so I can try telling my story with more appropriate comedic delivery. Come along, let's head back.
Ah, ok. Literalmente.
I can feel it. This time, I'm really going to nail the delivery. You'll be in stitches. A talking bucket, you'll say? How ridiculous. How absurd. What a hilarious concept. The king of comedy. That's what you'll call me. Thank goodness we had the instructional video. Otherwise, who knows where we'd be right now. Well, I wouldn't be the king of comedy, that's for sure. The bucket spoke to Stanley.
The bucket spoke.
The bucket spoke. Oh, I'll figure it out on the fly. No need to overthink things.
What the fuck, amigo. A ver, volvemos entonces a las dos puertas. Ok. A ver, supuestamente para hacer el chistecito. A ver.
Here we go. You ready? When Stanley and the bucket came to a set of two open doors, they entered the door on the left.
Bro.
What?
Ay.
We're back at the phone already? No. What's going on? There were supposed to be several rooms leading up to this. There was supposed to be a build-up to this point. A dramatic display of remarkable comedic wit which culminates in this scene with the phone. But now the timing's completely off. The joke will never land. Well, not the way it was meant to. And it's all my fault. I must have forgotten that the phone room comes immediately after the two doors room. What an egregious mistake. I've made a fool of myself. I don't deserve the title of King of Comedy. I'm nothing. I'm not even the lowliest joke-telling whelp. I think I need to go back and rewatch that instructional
Pero que no lo vea yo.
again. Yes, surely that will help me improve my...
No me pongo
Here we
escribir.
go. You ready?
Okay.
When Stanley and the bucket came to a set of two open doors, they entered the door on the left.
Me la chupa. Pero otra vez la habitación del teléfono.
What? We're back at the phone already? No. Here we go. You ready? When Stanley and the bucket came to a set of two open doors, they entered the door on the left.
Vale, creo que tengo que ir por el otro lado.
What? We're back at the
tengo que ir por
phone
el otro lado,
already?
está repitiendo esto.
No.
Vale, vamos a ir por
Here
otro
we
lado.
go. You ready?
Dale.
When Stanley and the bucket came to
Da.
a set of 2 open doors, they entered the door on the left.
Dale, vamos. Ahora
No,
sí.
no, 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 no. You were supposed to go through the door on the right, leading back to the phone. Did you not even look at the instructional video? I think this is all covered very clearly. There's no way I can make the comedic timing work now. It's done. The joke is completely done and over. It's all your fault, Stanley. I'm going to be ridiculed in the community of other joke writers. I'm going to be shamed at every one of our meetings from now on. All because you couldn't watch a simple video and take a hint. Are you proud of yourself for bringing me down, Stanley? Are you proud?
¿Y ahora qué?
Stanley, you love the bucket so much it's like you... it's as though all of your other most prized possessions pale in comparison. Yes. Well, let me try that again, Stanley. I heard that you are pale with shame over how unabashedly in love with a bucket you are. No? Still not? Is it the delivery?
Dios mío, los chistes está
Pale with
contando.
shame. Pale with shame? Pale... What's another word to describe a bucket? Stanley, this bucket is so metal, I think I saw it playing guitar. No. We're getting away from making fun of Stanley's obsession with the bucket, which was the whole point of this. I'm no good at these jokes.
Dios.
I need more instructional videos. That's exactly what it is. That's what will make me the king of comedy again. More instructional videos.
Dios
Let's
mío.
see. Let's see.
Holy shit. Bueno, vamos a dejar el capítulo de hasta acá, gente. Después seguiremos con más y eso. Nada, se ve que agotamos totalmente agotamos totalmente esa puerta. Ahora vamos a ir a por otras puertas, por otras cosas también. Tenemos que ver también el tema de los coleccionables, el logro. Que por eso yo digo que creo que vamos a tener que tener 2 videos más. Para mí el siguiente video no es el último, sino el siguiente. Para mí con 2 videos ya terminamos el juego y por fin ya nos liberamos de esto. Ya hice muchos finales, faltan un montón. Falta el final del ascensor, el final de la escalera para abajo, el final el ascensor ese que repetís otras veces. Tenemos el final normal, el final del museo, el final supongo que de activar la máquina de control mental, el final de caerse al vacío, el final de la libertad normal. Que ese es el último que voy a hacer, ese es el último que voy a hacer, porque la verdad, chin. Después tenemos, creo que otros finales, ¿no? Al final vi que el final de la sala esta de la escoba de mantenimiento, esa también tiene un final. No sé, iré viendo, iré avanzando y haré todos los finales. Así que nada, gente, espero que les haya gustado. Seguimos con Stanley Parable, el poder del balde.